Good evening, and welcome to the combined meeting for the Vineland Board of Education. Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Here.
Ms. Cataspati?
Present.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Here.
Mr. Holmes?
Present.
Mr. Rivera?
Here.
Mr. Sabrana?
Present.
Mr. Silva?
Here.
Ms. Spinelli?
Here.
Mr. English?
In compliance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law, commonly referred to as the Sunshine Law, the Vineland Board of Education has caused notice and posting of the following to be sent, announcing the time, place, therefore, agenda, etc. The Daily Journal, S&J Today, the Press of Atlantic City, Nuestra Comunidad, Visto Bueno, and the Clerk of the City of Vineland and the Administrative Office for the Public Bulletin Board. The flag salute, please. Do we have a resolution for executive session?
Not at this time.
We have two special presentations tonight, and we're going to start off with the first one with the district's leadership team.
Thank you and good evening. Our leadership team here today will be presenting to you the road forward for the Vineland Public Schools. We are here unified presenting how we plan and intend to open our school district this year. We know that there are things changing every day. So what we present today may change tomorrow, but we would like to give you at least the basis of what we are working on right now. So at this time, we are committed to providing a full-day, full-time, in-person instructional program and operations for this school year. Full day and full-time means your regular schedule, your regular routines, your regular program that you had prior to COVID will be back in effect in all of our schools. That is our intention. That's what we are planning on. We're meeting with our principals, and that's the work that we are doing together. But I want to note for you that there is at this time no virtual option for parents to select. Unfortunately, the governor and the Department of Education have decided not to allow parents to recommend or ask for a virtual option for their children. All students, 100% of students, will be required to attend our in-person programs in the Vineland Public Schools. So we've had a lot of information coming out from the CDC, and I wanted to put these two slides together here for you so you could see some of the key takeaways. Number one, students benefit from in-person instruction. We know through our experience during the hybrid and in total shutdown that our schools struggled. Some kids did well in that time, but the majority of our students prospered. They do extremely well when they're in person in front of a teacher for live instruction. We know from the CDC and what they've been putting out that vaccination is currently the leading public health prevention strategy along with other prevention strategies that are out there. Masks, they are recommended, should be worn indoors by all individuals, even if you are fully vaccinated, and especially for those who are not vaccinated. And the CDC recommends that you maintain 3 foot of space in between all students at all times when possible. But the key caveat to that is social distancing in classrooms cannot limit the number of students who have access to those programs. Another page of our prevention and key takeaways are that screening. testing, ventilation, hand washing, respiratory etiquette, staying home when sick, getting tested, contact tracing, in combination with quarantine and isolation. These are all layers that we must implement in our school district. These are layers of prevention strategies that have been in place in Vineland Public Schools in the last year. We also know that to protect all of our students, our teachers, and our staff, we must maintain vigilance with all of our procedures. Whatever we agree to do, we must do it with fidelity across all of our school buildings. And we must also work with the City of Vineland, our public health department, to monitor community transmission, vaccination coverage, screening, and testing. And when there's occurrences in schools, we also must look at contact tracing and support our nurses and our principals, our teachers in that contact tracing. Dr. Sneeden.
Thank you. So in putting together this guidance, we modeled all of our plans after the Road Forward document that was released by the Department of Education here in New Jersey, and we are using that as a guideline. Certainly, they're not, the items in there are just recommendations, not mandatory, but they are sort of a framework to follow. Obviously, vaccinations are at the forefront, but we realize that some of our students are not able to be vaccinated. So when we do come back in September, we fully understand that we will have a mixture of fully vaccinated, partially vaccinated, and non-vaccinated individuals. We plan to survey our students and our staff about their vaccination status, and if we don't know, we will just assume the person is not vaccinated. We are, as Mr. Llanos said, in daily communication with the Vineland Health Department, the City of Vineland Health Department, and they keep us up to date with the reporting and the statistics. Right now, the entire state is in the yellow moderate region, and they are, just in case you can't see that, there's low, moderate, high, and very high. And I'm sure you've watched the press conferences, but we are currently, our region and the entire state is in that moderate category.
So just to give you a little bit more specific information, thank you, Dr. Sneeden. On this slide here, we have information from the Vineland metro area, just showing the daily new cases. This is as of yesterday. It's at 11.4 per 100,000 residents of the Vineland metro area. You can see on the graph the number is beginning to rise up at 11.4 on the right-hand side of your screen, right around here. On the next slide, you'll see that the infection rate is at a 1.25. For every person who is infected, that person is transmitting that disease onto 1.25 other people. So that is of concern. It's leading the Vineland metro area into this high range. Positivity test rate, 1.8%. This remains low, in the low range, which is good. All the folks who are getting tested, they're coming back with negative tests. That's a good thing. There's a wide range of testing opportunities in the city of Vineland, and that's exceptional. And we need to double down on that. And we know we are connecting with our community partners to ensure that staff and students have access to testing and the vaccine if necessary. And I received this information today. Just to make it local, right? So we understand this is from the health department. In the last 45 days, the percentage of positive cases by age group of all cases in Vineland has kind of shifted. You'll see that 21.15% of the positive rates of cases are in a younger age group than has been occurring in the past. Prior to that was a different age group, 50 to 60, 30 to 49 were the majority of cases. Now it's shifted to age 5 to 17 and 18 to 29. And this is from information from Vineland. This is from your Department of Health. So masks. Masks is a very contentious topic throughout the state, throughout our nation. We know that our experience in Vineland is that wearing masks helps keep schools open, keeps kids in classrooms, helps reduce the transmission of COVID-19. We know that in the road forward, the governor has asked all school districts to make a decision, a local decision based on local conditions. So that is a decision that we have to make together. I just want to remind everyone that the CDC already recommends universal indoor masking for all teachers, staff, students, and visitors to K-12, regardless of vaccination status. We know that's already happened. That's out there. We are expecting to hear an update from Governor Murphy sometime soon regarding the mandate for masking. There may be some announcement coming soon, is what we're hearing, that it may no longer be optional for school districts. It may be something that is imposed. We don't know that. So as of this moment, as of today, we're in a moderate stage. Masks continue to be optional. We are going to continue to assess the situation. We're meeting with the Department of Health next week, or on the 16th, I believe. In the next 2 weeks, we're going to get more information. If the conditions continue to get worse, you can anticipate we may be changing our strategy and looking to institute masks in all schools. Our priority, and I want to state this for everyone to hear, is to keep our schools open. We do not want to go back to virtual instruction. But if you begin to close classrooms, grades, wings, buildings, you're going to go back to virtual instruction for all students, and that'll take the right to a free education from our children from them. And we want them to be in our buildings. We want them to be in front of their teachers and with their classmates. I want to skip this one.
So in the past spring, we were returning back to school in cohorts. Obviously, with 100% of our students coming back, we will have obviously a greater number of students. We will physically distance to the greatest extent possible. We hope to get 3 feet, but that sometimes will be possible and sometimes won't. We will continue to stress all of our cleaning measures, our teaching of hand hygiene and hand washing, and our respiratory etiquette, especially to our youngest students, so that they are cognizant of just being very safe. Unlike last year, we will be offering meals in our cafeterias. We will social distance to the greatest extent possible, and our principals are currently working on plans to have dining alternatives. In warmer weather, we can use some outdoor seating, and they are looking at different shifts for the students to have meals in the cafeteria to prevent there from being too large a number in there at any one time. It's important to note on the buses, again, without cohorts, there will be full buses again, and masks must be worn on the bus, regardless of vaccination status per the CDC. And we will physically distance as much as we possibly can, but masks are required on our school buses. We will, again, continue to encourage, to me this was before COVID, students who are sick should not attend school. Okay, so we have to be very diligent as parents and caregivers. If the sniffles, you used to try and send them, this is not the time for that. And we will be sending kids home if they have 2 of the following symptoms that are listed up there, or at least 1 of the symptoms. So those guidelines really haven't changed since last year. Okay.
I want to point out this part of the road back, or the road forward, I should say. When a child is possibly requested to isolate or quarantine, or even a staff member, for the day to count as a day of instruction, students will be allowed to connect to their classroom remotely. So on the first or the second slide, I let you know that parents cannot select a virtual option for their child. You cannot exclude your child from schools. But as a result of contact tracing and the work that we're going to do to ensure the safety of all of our staff and our students, some students may have the opportunity to remain connected with their classroom for remote instruction. So I want to just clarify it. There is no option for parents to select virtual instruction for their children, but schools, and we're already setting up with the curriculum team and our principals, all of our teachers will have their Google Classrooms ready in case of those situations for students that need to connect to the classroom directly, virtually, so they can maintain at least some sort of connectivity to the classroom for their full day of instruction. So that is the expectation as we move forward. Next, I'd like to ask Mr. Farnaccio.
Thank you. Regarding facility-related practices, basically, we remain consistent as we have in the past couple years. Now, we're always tracking the recommendations and the guidance from the CDC. Currently, the guidance is focus on main touch points. Intrinsically, that is where they know communicable transfer can happen with COVID, and so our focus is going to be hitting all of those touch points facility related. Again, in our inventory, we're restocking for this year. We're going to make sure that classrooms all have sanitizing wipes, disinfectant for local use within the classroom. Our mitigation measures have been set up and implemented, and so we're just maintaining those. We're still encouraging social distancing in the hallways. We've got visible stickers, we've got signage, we've got the thermal cameras when people enter into the building. And so those things, again, we will continue to follow the guidance and adjust accordingly, but we're set up for that. So the engineering strategies, again, they remain the same. We have a multitude of buildings designed differently with our heating and air conditioning and our mechanical operation for air infiltration. We know that the more fresh air and promotion of air transfer within a space is helpful in combating and reducing COVID transfer. And so we're going to continue that mitigation. And we do that both mechanically and also non-mechanically. Doors and windows are plain and simple. And then obviously we are increasing run times on our systems, opening up air dampers on all of the buildings that have the mechanical systems to take in that outside fresh air. And so those things we will continue doing, following the guidance for this coming year.
Okay, an update on ESSER 1, 2, and 3. When the district received ESSER 1, we utilized those funds for PPE such as sanitizers and masks. We also utilized the funds for technology equipment, for laptops for the students, as well as Chromebooks. For ESSER 2, the use of funds, we implemented the Summer Academy, which is going to run 2 years, which correlates with the grant funding, as well as teacher support for reading and math specialists. Some of the scope of the work for facilities, and this will be included in our ESSER 3 as we move forward, the district decided to use some of the funds to improve the buildings because we need to make sure our buildings are safe. We are going to be implementing 2 touchless features for student bathrooms in every building, HVAC renovation upgrades for 6 of our buildings. That would include Barcy, Winslow, Johnstone, Durand, Minis, and Cunningham. Window upgrades are going to be done at the Vineland High School North as well as the Vineland High School South in the V-Wing. Also, Minis, Cunningham, and Landis will be included in that project. Additional PPE will continue to be ordered for the 21-22 school year. Grant funding staffing, Central and Building Administration conducted temporary staffing additions to bolster the full-time teaching and paraprofessional ranks. So this will help with the learning loss that students may have experienced over the COVID closures. Elementary school, we added 3rd grade transitional instructors as well as mathematical or language arts reading specialists along with paraprofessional support staff. Based upon specific building aspects, the middle schools added mathematics, science, and or social studies teachers. Mr. Fry will talk about the curriculum update.
Good evening. So the district plans to expand the developmental 1st grade program in all district elementary schools and add a 3rd grade developmental program in each elementary school. To bolster student contact time and respond to the district-wide needs in K-5 school, each K-5 school, we'll hire either a math or reading specialist. Summer Academy programs in elementary and middle school ended Thursday, and the high school will finish on August 12th, just in time to begin 3 days of freshman orientation. Some stats from the Summer Academy and plans for the upcoming school year include 202 high school students, 383 middle school students, and 1,167 elementary school students attended the summer program. These numbers represent approximately 20% of our district population. Additional teaching positions have been added in the middle and high school levels in an effort to reduce class sizes. A new social emotional learning curriculum will be implemented in the middle school as part of the normal cycle programs. And finally, SEL workshops for developing socially and emotionally healthy students and social emotional learning gaps will be offered to the staff during our November in-service. Thank you.
So I want to thank the team for working together to put together this update for you. This conversation with the community and our board is just beginning. We know at our next board meeting we'll continue to provide updates. If there are any changes coming from the national level, the state level, or the county level, we will communicate those directly to you. So at this time, for any of our board members, we're going to switch into our next presentation unless there's any questions or anything that needed to be presented at this time. I believe we can move on to the next topic. Ms. Spinelli, I'm not sure if I can see you back there.
And the next agenda item is the QSAC report presented by our superintendent and our assistant superintendents.
So I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present that last presentation to you. We're going to put up on our website. It'll be live and ready for you to view, and we'll also communicate that out in Spanish as well. Mr. Fry will be taking the lead on this NJ QSAC presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lano. Okay. Good evening. Tonight's presentation is on our New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum District Improvement Plan. We typically refer to it as QSAC. It is not designed as a comprehensive look at the QSAC process, but more of an overview of where we are currently. QSAC consists of 5 major components, and the one we will discuss tonight is instruction and program. The instruction and program review consists of 16 indicators designed to measure student performance on state assessments and how the school district supports student growth. The district achieved a perfect score on curriculum policies and procedures, but received an overall score of 78, 2 points below the cut score to require a formal improvement plan. Although the district continues to show growth in many areas, the district is required to write an improvement plan for student achievement in math, language arts, and science. The district must also include plans to decrease achievement gap data within specific populations. Finally, the district is required to continue to plan for improvement in our 4-year cohort graduation rate. The district has developed a comprehensive improvement plan designed to meet the needs of all students. In order to increase student test scores, we continue to work with teachers to ensure that the district's approved curriculum is delivered with fidelity. Teachers meet with supervisors and building administrators in review of student assessment data to identify gaps in student learning and adjust the delivery of curriculum to address each student needs. The process often takes place in well-defined times of professional learning communities. Professional development for teachers and administrators is a major focus for supporting the district improvement plan. This year, we have scheduled multiple in-person and asynchronous PD opportunities, including reading strategies, small group instruction, and evaluation processes for administrators. We have also begun a professional development resource page linked to the curriculum section of our district webpage. This year, we have also implemented the requirement for all teachers to maintain Google Classroom as a learning management system. The goal of the learning management system is to provide increased access to classroom resources for students and parents. Critical point. Okay, the graduation rate. Over the last several years, we have maintained steady growth in our graduation rate. This is a 4-year cohort graduation starting as a freshman year. Through our efforts, we have realized an increase in graduation rates from 71.8% in 2013 to 85.2% in 2019. We had a small dip last year, and I call it the COVID year, that dipped down to 83.2, but still moving in that right direction. Our growth is a result of multiple strategies, including instructional practices that increase access to the use of technology, and efforts to expand our multi-level support systems for all students. Service learning has expanded at all grade levels in the high school, and we continue to expand our mentoring programs and opportunities, including a Mentor 2.0 program, which is a hybrid model of a traditional mentoring program where people can meet online also with their mentor. That concludes our presentation for our DIP, our New Jersey QSAC Continuum. Any questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Fry. We're going to switch back up to the podium now, and Ms. Spinelli, we're going to move on to the next component of the agenda. Thank you. And thank you, team. Great work.
Do we have a HIB report tonight? No. Okay. Approval of the minutes. The May 5th, 2021 executive session, June 1st, 2021 combined meeting, June 10th, 2021 combined meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Acosta?
Yes, abstain as to the June 1 combined meeting.
Mrs. Kataspati?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes. Okay. Any committee reports this evening? Ms. Acosta?
The Curriculum Instruction and Technology Committee meeting took place on July 19th, 2021. Present and in attendance were Mr. Yano, Mr. Fry, Mr. Silva, Mr. Sabrana, and myself. We discussed the Math and STEM Summer PLC. We discussed the transition from the STEAM program in the middle schools to the social emotional learning for grades 6, 7th, and 8th. We had further discussions on the Summer Academy, and we were very happy with the attendance and the participation of the students. We also discussed the implementation of the Administrators Academy that will be implemented, I believe, in late August. And finally, we discussed the studio production textbook in line with our desire to continue to further expand a studio production track. And that's it.
Thank you. Any other committee reports this evening? Mr. Sabrana?
Thank you. The Ad Hoc Communications Committee met on July 27th. Joining me were Mr. Yano, Ms. Leary, Mr. English, Mr. Silva, and via remote, Mr. Rivera. Also joining us were Ms. Missouri and Mr. Diola from the Communications Office. After reviewing the prior work of the committee with Mr. Yano, we discussed the goals of this committee, which have been sidetracked by the pandemic. The overarching goal was to replace the aging broadcast TV van and repair, upgrade, or replace critical equipment. This will provide for VPS Communications a mobile unit that will be fully functional for live streaming and recording district news, student performance and achievement events, athletics, and government meetings. Ms. Missouri presented data on the equipment now in use for her department, as well as a list of must-haves for the new vehicle. Mr. Diola outlined the challenges of field work in the current situation with virtually no student assistance. Having this vehicle as a mobile laboratory will be a significant step forward in bringing a long-set goal of establishing a strong link between the high school curriculum and actual content for broadcast work in the field. Next steps will be the actual purchase of an appropriate vehicle and the engineering to put it into service in the field and with students doing the actual work. The committee will reconvene after the opening of school in September. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other committee reports this evening?
Yes. Transportation Committee met Wednesday, July 28th, 4 o'clock p.m. Present were Mr. English, Mr. Rivera, Mr. Hall, Mr. Yano, Ms. Leary, Ms. Acosta, and myself. We discussed non-public and private bids, driver route picks, bus pass information, new bus due date that we're ordering. We're going to continue sanitizing our buses, as you saw in the presentation tonight. We discussed masks and courtesy busing for VHS and PILA. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Public meeting report by Board Solicitor?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Public comment on agenda items or any other matter addressing the board. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes.
First, we have Ms. Valerie Francis, who would like to talk about topic would be mask.
Or any other matter.
It says any other matter. If you could just state your name and your address.
Oh, sure. Okay, Valerie Francisi, 2912 Douglas Lane, Vineland, New Jersey. Okay, good evening. I did want to let you know I listened to every single word that you were saying about the mask. So, unless or until a mandate goes into effect, I'm here to respectfully ask you to please, please consider removing the mask mandate to make wearing them optional. Also, for the record, I work as an instructional aide in the district. I realize that people from both sides feel strongly about this issue, and understandably so. And I know you aren't taking the majority, I'm sorry, oh my gosh, I can't read. It's the summer, I've been out of school. Okay, and I know you aren't taking the making of this decision lightly. I appreciate the thoughtful consideration you're putting into it. Since the pandemic first broke out, we've been given so much contradictory information, which makes it very challenging to sort out fact from fiction or truth from misinformation. Standing before you tonight, I can honestly say I don't know what to believe or not to believe at this point. But what I do know is I've gotten whiplash from all of the flip-flopping that's gone on since the onset. I don't trust the government or the media to provide accurate information. Even the healthcare professionals vary in their opinions and recommendations. Masks don't work. Masks work. Masks don't work. The vaccine is safe. Adults and children have died from the vaccine. Get the vaccine. Don't get the vaccine. If you get the vaccine, you won't have to wear a mask. Even if you've been vaccinated, you still need to wear one. COVID numbers are up. COVID numbers are skewed because if you were hospitalized or died for another reason but happened to test positive for COVID, COVID was officially listed as the cause. The vaccine works. Oh, you can still get COVID even if vaccinated. There's no harm to children to wear a mask all day. Masks are harmful to children in a variety of ways. The list goes on, as you are all well aware. I got COVID in January, even though I did everything I was told to do. In the 2 weeks prior to starting to show symptoms, I was obviously working from home as school was fully remote. I had my groceries delivered to lessen possible exposure, and the only times I went out during that 2 weeks and was around anyone other than my husband was to hit up the ATM machine and get my mammogram done. I wore a mask both times. I socially distanced. I used hand sanitizer immediately upon getting back into my car. When I got home, I right away washed my hands with soap and water for 20 seconds as recommended. Yet somehow, I was exposed to and contracted COVID, which I then ended up giving to my husband. So my point is this. Did The recommendations keep me from getting COVID. Nope. How about those people who never tested positive, even though the rest of their household all contracted it? Doesn't that also defy what we've been told about COVID transmission? I now have natural immunity.
Excuse me, ma'am, 1 minute.
1 minute? Okay. I now have natural immunity, but even still, I also got vaccinated, which went against what I believed. I'm immunocompromised. I have a number of medical diagnoses which put me at high risk, and yet I'm urging you to make the wearing of masks optional. I have a hard time breathing with a mask. A lot of adults and children do. Governor Murphy lifted his mask mandate and put the power in your hands to decide. Many districts across the state and country have already announced masks are now optional. It's actually something, doing that, and a mask optional policy will give a little bit to both sides on the debate. It's a good compromise. Those who are worried can choose to get the vaccine and wear masks at school to offer the protection they believe in, and those who aren't worried can opt instead not to wear one. Adults can choose which option works best for them according to their beliefs and their personal doctor's recommendations. Parents would have the right to make the decision they're most comfortable with to best meet the needs of their children, as it should be. And let's face it, it's summer vacation. Does anyone seriously think kids have been wearing masks all summer while interacting with friends? Fortunately, there's a difference between state or county mandates and guidelines. Masks must be followed, but guidelines need only be taken into consideration when making your determination. The fact remains that at least right here and now, you get to decide. Please
Ma'am,
let
you're
us.
going to have to finish up, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else who put in a yellow slip? You guys can come to the podium. If you could just state your name and your address for us once you reach the podium.
My name is Ann Giacomoni, and I live 569 Kingman Avenue, Vineland, New Jersey. And I'm speaking about a personal experience in connection with CRT, critical race theory. I'm concerned because I would not like to see it taught to the children. This is an experience that happened to me a few years ago, but it's relevant for today. I saw 3 little girls holding hands in a circle. Together, they danced around, singing Ring Around a Rosie. One was brown, one was white, one was black. I was the only one who knew. And it proves to me that children don't see color, they see friendship. And I feel that CRT would be wrong to introduce to children.
If you put a yellow slip up, you can come to the podium. We have one more left. If you could just state your name and your address for us.
Katie Sarnoff, my address, 3291 Sienna Way, Vineland. That's it. To whom it may concern, I want to start off by thanking all of you for your time and dedication to our children's education. I'm writing to you on behalf of our 2 boys who attend Vineland Public Schools and all the children in this district who attend these public schools. My findings about masking healthy children throughout the last 1.5 years have raised significant concerns, both medically and legally. From what I've heard, Governor Murphy has left it up to the individual districts to determine their policies on masking, and many districts in New Jersey have already made masks optional. I believe it's time for Vineland to follow suit and let parents, along with their children, decide whether or not they feel the need to wear a mask covering while in school. especially since a lot of the new science coming out is actually showing that these masks have done and could do more harm than good. Masks are ineffective for the purpose claimed by these mandates. They carry potential harm on the grounds of both health and well-being, and are only authorized for use by emergency use authorization. I've printed out links of 47 studies confirming the ineffectiveness of masks for preventing the spread of COVID, and 32 more which confirm their negative health effects. Covering a child's airway every day is not conducive to their health, considering breathing and immune function are intimately related. Medical experts have been using the same physiological understanding for decades that breathing fresh air is necessary for optimal lung health. Health includes the mental, emotional, social, and behavioral pieces of the human experience. Children rely heavily on connection and facial expression to thrive, which is why the environment within the schools is so crucial. I believe parents should have the ability, or should be able to make an informed choice about whether or not their children wear face coverings all day in school, or anywhere for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have anyone else that would like to speak tonight on agenda items or any other matter that did not put in a yellow slip? Okay. Motions and resolutions. Superintendent recommendations for discussion and approval by the board.
Okay. Okay. Discussion regarding personal items 1.1 and 1.2. 1.1 being retirements, resignations, terminations. B, students. C, substitutes, extracurricular activities, volunteers. 1.2 being specifically noting daily substitute pay rates and changes effective September 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Nope,
Oh, motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mrs. Kataspati?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Discussion regarding procedures and operations. We have a number of items, and I'll just summarize them. 2.1, we would be requesting approval for the athletic fall 2021 schedule, field hockey, and district travel. 2.2, the interim placement results that we saw Mr. Fry presented on QSAC. 2.3, an affiliation agreement with the College of New Jersey for field internships. 2.4 is the district's professional development plan that will guide the district through the next year. 2.5, a series of first readings of the following policies. They are listed in the agenda. There are numerous policies that are being revised or updated as needed.
Questions and comments? Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mrs. Kataspati?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Discussion regarding buildings and grounds. There's one item, 3.1, which is requesting approval authorizing the school business administrator to advertise for bids for a specific project at 1350 Southwest Boulevard, Unit Number 2, for a one-year lease agreement.
Questions or comments? Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mrs. Kataspati?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi,
Yes.
Mr. Holmes,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mrs. Spinelli.
Yes.
Okay, this next section is a little bit longer, right? So we're going to break it up into some pieces here. So discussion regarding finance, 4.1 through 4.24. There are numerous items here, so I will go through them more line by line. 4.1, requesting approval for budgetary transfers. 4.2, accepting the approval of the preliminary board secretary and treasurer reports for June of 2021. 4.3, approval regarding the placement of special education students. 4.4 is approval, requesting approval for the submission of the fiscal year 2022 IDEA grant and the ESEA grant. 4.5, approval of a resolution establishing a number of accounts with Newfield National Bank for business checking, saving, and investments. That's noted as 4.5. 4.6 is to change the signers for the Vineland High School student activity account with BB&T Bank, removing and adding the noted personnel. 4.7 is a resolution to authorize a number of changes to Newfield National Bank depositories for the schools that are listed, which appears to be many of our elementary schools, Safety Patrol, and Wallace Middle School. 4.8, approval regarding the established petty cash and change funds for the school year upcoming, provided and on file with the board secretary. 4.9, professional services, $6,000 for professional development, scheduled for November 2nd through the curriculum office. 4.10, it's approval regarding a proposal for Vineland Safety Training Center for health and safety courses at a cost not to exceed $2,500. Approval 4.11 for staff CPR certification and AED training through the American Red Cross, not to exceed $3,500. 4.12 is an agreement between the City of Vineland Board of Education and Catapult Learning to provide evaluation and determination of eligibility services to students in non-public schools. 4.13, approval regarding an agreement between the City of Vineland Board of Education and Catapult Learning to provide nursing services to students in those non-public schools as well. 4.14, approval regarding a professional service agreement with Brett Denovi Associates for BCBA and behavior support services for classified students within the district's autism programs. 4.15, approval regarding contract renewal for year 3 of the school-based mental health services for the term of July 1 through June 30th, 2022 with Ascenda, and the amendment includes an addition of $99,925 for the new services that are being provided. 4.16, approval regarding contract renewal for year 2 of a food service management company, and in the amendment, there's a reflection of a new 0.1414 cents per meal entry that's required for our contract. 4.17, regarding a 2-year contract renewal between our Board of Education and Frontline for services provided directly to our Special Ed Department, IEP Direct 504 Program Management and Resource Management. 4.18, approval regarding the awarding of the greenhouse project to our Maxwell Construction Company at a total contract of $416,000. 4.19, approval regarding project at Vineland High School with Capri Construction for masonry repairs. 4.20, a tuition contract with Cape May County Technical School District and the City of Vineland Board of Education for a tuition adjustment as shown on the agenda of $2,520. 4.21, approval regarding the tuition contract between the City of Vineland Board of Education and Atlantic County Vocational School Board of Education for 1 student. 4.22, requesting approval to rescind an itinerant shared services agreement between the district and Cape May County Special Services School District. 4.23, approval regarding bus advertisements for the Boy Scouts Garden State Council and Inspira Health. And 4.24, approval regarding the following Cumberland County Regional Cooperative Transportation Initiatives as listed in A, B, and C on the agenda.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
Point of clarification, if I may. Mr. Yano, your recommendation on 4.12 and 4.13, the contracts with Catapult haven't been finalized yet, and I believe your recommendation is subject to the approval of you and I regarding those contracts, and I just wanted to make sure the record has it as a conditional approval.
Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate that. 4.12 and 4.13 contingent upon in a form acceptable by the board solicitor and the superintendent. Correct. Thank you.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mrs. Cottasbody?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes on all, abstain on 4.15.
Thank you. Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes. Regular agenda items, none. Proposed items for review or discussion adapted by board members? None at this time. Approval of the bills occurred during June 2021. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Emergent items? Oh, roll call, sorry.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mrs. Cottasbody?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes. No emergent items. Any old business? New business? Board member remarks, and limit yourself to 5 minutes, please. I'll start with Mr. Fiocchi.
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Holmes?
Nothing at this time.
Ms. Acosta?
I just want to thank the administrative team for the great job that they did with their presentation and letting the public know, letting parents know everything that they should be looking forward to, understanding that obviously it's a fluid situation, so as information comes, I'm sure that you will update everyone. But thank you very much for the hard work.
Ms. Cottasbody?
I'd like to echo Ms. Acosta on thanking our administration for doing a great job with the presentation. I would like to thank Ms. Giacomoni for coming out and speaking, to Ms. Francisi and Ms. Sarnoff, who both gave passionate speeches. I think we all saw up on the screen the CDC recommendations, and I think that we all saw that right now the governor has given his leeway to our administration about the masks and making them optional. And if you've watched the past 2 board meetings, you'll see that a lot of people up here feel the same way that you do. However, should it be mandated, we don't have a choice. The governor's mandate is pretty much law at that point, and there won't be any discussion. We all want our students safe. And Ms. Sarnoff, you made some great points. Ms. Francisi also with the breathing, and I just think it's a lot that we have to take in. A lot of people would like to see the optional. We just have to wait to see where the governor's going. We as a board don't make that decision, but administration does, and and they're going to do the best that they possibly can for our students, which they've been doing. They're keeping everybody updated. So, I appreciate, this is more people than we've seen in a couple of years out here, so please keep on coming out because we really do need to hear from you. And it gets everybody, I get texts, I get inboxes, but these people, everybody else isn't. But you guys coming up here and telling everybody, they get your feelings and thoughts, also. So please come out and let us know how you're feeling. I hope everybody continues to have a good summer. I'm looking forward to get all the students back in the district this year. They need to be back in school. Thank you for coming out, and God bless you all.
Mr. Rivera.
Good evening, everyone. Whatever side of the fence you fall when it comes to mass, whatever decision comes down the pike, one group is going to be upset. Like Ms. Kadaspati mentioned, our governor has the ultimate say, and if our governor determines that that's what he wants, that's what he wants. But you know what the great thing about this country is? That if you don't like our elected officials, you can vote them out, or you can vote them back in. And that is your choice, that is our choice, and we just need to see what comes down the pike. And I know that this team, this administrative team, is doing everything possible and has the best interests of our children in mind. I have no doubt about that. So I just say, just keep an eye out, keep your ears open, and make the decision in November. That's when it counts. Thank you.
Mr. Sobrana.
Thank you to the administrative team for that great report. And also, thanks to those who came out. I agree with Ms. Kadaspati. We do need to hear from you. We do need to know what you think. What's important is that we get back to school because our kids have lost a lot, not having in-person instruction. But they also need to be safe. This is unprecedented territory for a lot of people, and that's why there's so much frustration, because the way forward is not clear. But I have faith that we will do what's right, and to the extent possible, make sure that our kids and our staff is safe in the buildings.
Thank you. Mr. Silva.
Thank you to everyone who came out and spoke. Thank you to the administration team for the presentation. I'd like to echo my fellow board members in regards to our mask. At the end of the day, we have to wait for the governor to make his final decision. And like Dennis said, in November, if you are not happy with the decision, then you have your choice to vote him out or vote him back in. But thank you and have a great night.
Thank you. And that will conclude. Mr. Young.
And you.
Can I have a moment, please? Thank you. Thank you.
Stifle.
Thank you. So it's wonderful to see our audience here tonight, our participants, and we respect the opportunity to listen to all of our different viewpoints. It makes us better because it makes us reflect on the variety of perspectives that are in the community. It's not just one group of people thinking one certain type of way. There are various opinions and ideas and thoughts out there. One thing that I do know, after visiting our summer academies, working with teachers, principals in the schools, meeting some of our paraprofessionals in those buildings, that our teachers are doing the best that they can, working with our students. They've done wonderful work. Our teachers are ready to greet our students in the school year. They're ready to take on the challenge. Our principals are actively working on schedules. Ms. DeMarchi's out here someplace. She knows I'm asking her a lot about her high school student schedules and the work that they're doing to make sure everyone is ready to go. They have another week, I believe, for their summer program before schedules are finalized. So soon we'll have schedules, probably mid-August, submitted. Also, right now, parents have the ability to go into Genesis and update your home address, your phone number. Very important for Mr. Hall and his team in transportation. We want to make sure we're transporting kids from the right location, not an old address. So it's critical that we get that information in as soon as possible. So again, these are all of the operational things that we're doing now to get ready for a solid opening of school in September. I appreciate everyone's time. I appreciate the support of our Board of Education. We've got to figure out where everyone's sitting, for the presentations so that we can see your faces and we can, if there's any questions, we can respond to them at a better pace. In September, we'll have a couple presentations from our curriculum office, from the social studies implementation. We'll be discussing the CRT, is it critical race theory or is it culturally responsive teaching? There's a lot of discussion going on nationally around that controversial topic, so we will be addressing that full force. And at the end of August, we will also provide an update on our readiness, and our buildings and grounds team will provide an update as far as the HVAC projects that are started and what we've gone out to bid. So there's a lot of work that's happening right now. We've had an eventful July, and August will be even more exciting. So thank you for your time, and we'll keep going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our meeting for this evening.
So moved. So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.